this could have already been a bad move for Jaden Rashada. I don't know. It's the FCS. Dude. Jaden Rashada is a story that is very indicative of the modern state of the college football landscape. That sounded like a ChatGPT intro. Anyway, the point is Jaden Rashada has hopped and bopped around from teams and has yet to really play significant time on the field, except, a little bit in Arizona State. He's notorious for his big NIL lawsuit that apparently is still going on, and it still has implications as the house settlement goes on. There's a lot of craziness, but at least finally he picks a team and he commits to a team. That being Sacremento State, probably one of the most controversial teams in all of college football, who recently, as it seems, is going to have their FBS bid denied. If you remember, we've made a few videos about this right at the end of the college football season. At the end of the football season, Sacramento State basically created a giant war chest of $20 million of NIL funds, basically proving that they have what it takes to be an FCS school. And they added a lot of players to also prove that they could be, an FBS school rather. And it seems like the crown jewel is former Georgia player, former Arizona player, former Florida and Miami commit, Jaden Rashada. Now, just to kind of recap on the situation of Jaden Rashada going forward, and then we're also going to talk a little bit about the new updates to Sacramento State and the team at whole at Sacramento State, because they have been spending NIL money. There is a lot of There's a lot of controversial names already at Sacramento State, and it seems like they're building. It's like, imagine if a content house was also a football house. Like we gonna get into it, but let's talk about Mr. Jaden Rashada. I believe he was a 5-star. Am I wrong? Was he a 5-star? Sorry, 4-star. Who initially committed to Miami. After committing to Miami, there was a whole situation. He's flipped his commitment. I usually have one of the things that has like a full thing that shows it. All right, I'll tell you. I'll tell you, and this is how it goes. I'll tell you this is how it goes. So, Miami. Then you go to Florida. He commits to Florida and signs his national letter of intent. Has an NIL deal. NIL deal apparently falls through. He transfers, rescinds his national letter of intent, goes to play for Arizona State for a year. During that time, he sues Florida, right? And then now some people tell me in the comments it's settled. Some people say it's still going on. I've looked it up, and some people say it's settled, and some people say it's still going on. I believe a part of wrongdoing is done, but I think there's still parts that are being resolved out in courts. But it's not looking like Jaden Rashada is going to have a big outlook on it. What it's really going to do is probably just add more fuel to the fire for the house settlement, if I'm being honest with you. But that's aside, right? Goes from Arizona State, then you go and he transfers to Georgia, where he's not even the backup quarterback, as we saw in the SEC championship. Shout out to my Longhorns. That he wasn't even the number 2 quarterback, so he got no playing time there. Then he ended, and this is where it gets a little spooky, right? And it's only spooky because of the implications of the NIL, the implications of the transfer portal, and really why I make some of these transfer portal NIL videos, because he then enters the portal regularly, right? In the winter portal, I guess, is that what they call winter portal open, fall portal open, right? And during that whole time, not only does he not visit a school, he doesn't reach out to any schools. And it was then later reported that, hey, right at the tail end of the transfer portal, hey, I'm just gonna plan to go ahead and sign in the spring portal. And if you know anything about the transfer portal, if you're signing in the spring portal, that's a problem, right? You're going to have less time, specifically as a quarterback who needs the most amount of learning, right? And then it came out that apparently his dad had been telling him to, delay his processing, delay his decision making. And I say all this to say that you're dealing with a player who has already had a notorious, right, history when it comes to NIL money and having to put certain guardrails up for him specifically to go ahead and get NIL. I mean, the dude he was one of the first people to have a lawsuit in college football for a team he didn't even end up playing for, right? So it's clear to see, or clear to me, rhyming accidentally, that the father most likely had a big influence on that. The father probably had it, as it came out, had an influence on him not finding a team. And sadly, his father probably had an influence on him going to Sacremento State. But we do have an article that's going to go in a little more deeper. But I do think that his complete story, bouncing from team to team to team, and not only team to team to team, the crazy thing is that we often tell these kids, the thing that we tell these kids about hopping in the portal is like, yo, dog, it's not that many spots. You know what I'm saying? You could be a number 2 wide receiver here. You try to go be a number 1 wide receiver somewhere. You might end up in JUCO. You might end up in D2. You might end up in FCS. But the thing about Jaden Rashada, which is even crazier, is that he went from Florida, then to Arizona State, then to Georgia. Basically a perennial powerhouse. So it's like when you transfer from Georgia and you transfer from Arizona State, and obviously Sam Levitt is doing his thing. At that point, it's like, well, what are you come from? You know me, I don't judge these kids when they try to find a new space, but I think that the kid is even wrong to be judged. I think the dad has a lot to be blamed here because clearly, you're suing at that young of an age. You're going to all these different opportunities. I mean, what better opportunity than to be at Georgia, right? Even if it's, hey, you got to wait another year. It seemed Stetson Bennett was a walk-on and waited like 17 years and had two good years, and he made it to the NFL. Now, obviously, he couldn't stay away from getting hammered in Athens, so that was a whole nother story for a different day. But I want to take a look at this because I get to, you know what I'm saying? I get to flex on y'all boys because if you see right there at the top, Mr. Arch Manning, he been with them dang Longhorns, and he stayed with the Longhorns. Yeah, feel me? So, this is 2023, dog. That is 2023 was like 2 years ago. I'm sorry. That just thinking about that is crazy. But you got Arch Manning committed to Texas, still at Texas. Nico Amaleva, basically, I probably butchered it. I apologize. From Tennessee. Now he's with UCLA. Dante Moore was with UCLA. Now he's at Oklahoma. I believe he's poised to be the starter this upcoming year. Jackson Arnold from Oklahoma to Auburn. You got Malachi Nelson, who started at USC and then went down to UTEP. That's tough. You got Jaden Rashada, who technically started at Arizona State, now in FCS, Sacramento State. You got Aiden Childs, initially Oregon State. Now he's over there at Michigan State. I don't think that's a bad rap at all. And then Austin Mack, one of the guys who's in the running to start for the Alabama Crimson Tide. So here it is. They say it's a 5-star recruit. When I looked at the thing, it said 4-star. But Sac State football, 5-state recruit, attended Arizona State and Georgia. You feel me? It says college football, Sacramento State. This is Justin Davis, sports journalist. Sacramento State quarterback commit Jaden Rashada. He opens up to the media about his lengthy process in the transfer portal that landed him at his 4th university in his college career. Wow. Rashada entered the transfer portal after spending the 2024 with the Georgia Bulldogs. Jaden Rashada spoke with CBS Sports, in which he said, "It was a lot to figure out, honestly. This move had to be pretty critical and intentional. I was more picky than this time around. I had more pure intentions of what I wanted to get out of it. Most importantly, I missed the game. I love football. This is what I've been doing since I was a kid. I miss playing the game. I wanted to play for a head coach who had my back and had a plan for me." Rashada, 21, will be on his 4th university, with his most recent stop being at Georgia in 2024. Rashada played behind Carson Beck and Gunnar Stockton, did not get any play time at all. Jaden Rashada has been logged at Cristobal to Sac State, so this was a bit of an idea there. And again, when we go into it, you're going to see that Sacramento State, this is not just a football thing. This is a school thing. Notable under Marion. So this is the new athletic director, Isaiah Hall. Like, again, both Isaiah Hall and Jaden Rashada are not just two, former high-touted players, but they're two players that are extremely controversial in the world of college football, right? Jaden Rashada, with his lawsuits, some people look at him way, just popping in the portal a lot, looks the type of way. And if I'm not mistaken, Jay Hall got arrested for some different things. So it's crazy to see there. You got Jordan Anderson from OSU, Rodney Hammond from Pitt, and then notable ads. And this is on the basketball side. Look, so they're not citing. This is This is school wide. I'm sorry. There's just people using track cameras above me. This is school wide. So you got Mike Williams from Memphis at UCF. You got Shakir O'Neal from Florida A&M, and then you got Jeremiah Barrett Curry from UNLV. FCS is making a real push, and again, former Texas A&M recruits. They're not just getting guys. They're specifically lining up a nice set of recruits to be, again, 5 stars, top tier guys. So Jaden Rashada is not just going to be joining a team. He's going to hopefully be joining a team that's going to be having a lot of support and probably make him the most poised that he's ever been to start and take over for a new team. So let's hear this little snippet. This is from the Bobby Carpenter Show. Apparently, $12 million. What's these numbers looking like? I'll let them pop into it, and then we'll give our take.
Well Traveled announced his latest destination on Instagram. He is going to Sacremento State, Schlegs. I just want you to think about this guy is committed to one school, played at 2 others, and now going to his 4th. I can't imagine he's getting really much cash. I can't imagine at Arizona State after his first year that he got much cash, because they start looking at it and saying, you're not providing us any value. So if we're not getting any value, why are we going to keep you? Why are we going to keep you here? So like looking at that and trying to understand it, this is one of the issues that you have. And now you have a kid that's been to basically 3 schools, committed to a 4th over his tenure, and he's ended up at Sacramento State.
Yeah.
He was supposed to have $12 million for his college career. And so people always say, like, go get the money, get the bag. I'm like, yeah, well, assuming the bag is there, like you said, Schlegs, their ability to pay. And if you pick the wrong school for the wrong reasons, you can end up like the probably undesirable tale, if you will, of Jaden Rashada.
The undesirable tale, and to end it off, just like he said, I'm going to go ahead and read this article, and this is from CBS Sports, and it kind of goes into detail of some of the things that I put into layman's terms, right? So going into detail, it says Jaden Rashada's college recruitment has been under a microscope since he announced his commitment to Miami almost 3 years ago. The decorated quarterback from the 2023 recruiting class has become one of the most recognizable faces and cautionary tales of the NIL era due to a series of high-profile events, which includes a fallout with Florida that resulted in a lawsuit against, among others, Coach Billy Napier. Rashada played a season at Arizona State after a botched 13.85. Woo! Hey, that's some money there. NIL deal with Florida fell through, then transferred to Georgia, where he did not appear in a game during the 2024 campaign and entered the portal for a second time. During his second stint in the portal, Rashada was patient in his process. I don't think it's patient. I think he was finding something that made sense, and I don't think, as much as he's putting out, and probably his camp is putting out that, hey, we're just happy to play ball, I don't think it's what's it called? What do you call it? Not a scenario. I don't think it's a coincidence that the FCS team that he decided to go with has a war chest of money, right? And former other FBS level players who are clearly probably getting matched SEC NIL money. I would have to assume. You know what I'm saying? But continuing on. Rashada was patient in the process. Like I said, it was nearly visited North Carolina, but he did visit Western Kentucky, was in contact with Tulane, and then obviously on nearly visited North Carolina. Sacramento State, which is expected to make the move from FCS to FBS in the coming season, was the one school that remained consistent throughout Rashada's recruiting process. The Hornets contacted Rashada's camp in January and stayed in touch throughout his recruiting process. While he weighed his other options in the transfer portal, after almost 4 months in the portal during his second go-around, Rashada ended his recruitment with a phone call to Sac State coach Brennan Marion the night before the transfer portal became public. It was a lot to figure out, honestly. Rashada told CBS Sports this move had to be pretty critical and intentional. And again, this is the same thing where he kind of goes on and say, hey, look, this was about ball. This has been a long storied past. And I have to say, just congratulations to Jaden Rashada. I have to really hope that he did this specifically because he wants to play ball and not anything else, because as we're going to see here in this small little video, just to kind of end it off, the idea to try to go ahead and into the FBS is already being denied. After getting denied to move up to FBS Sac State has officially withdrawn from the Big Sky Conference, first program to leave since Southern Utah in 2022. So they're not having a good time being able to move up to the FBS, and they're clearly going to go ahead and try to do something else by completely withdrawing from their conference. So we're going to continue to have more Jaden Rashada. But y'all let me know down below. Like the video if you like it, dislike if you don't like it, subscribe if you enjoy football content of all shapes, sizes, forms, and fashions. We will see you next time the sun shines. At peace.